Hello and welcome back to the Puncher's Chance podcast, and welcome to the review show. Britain have a new world champion, Shakur Stevenson, in the pound for pound picture, and Boxer have another decent enough card. If you like the sound of all of that, stick around to the end or subscribe for 2 podcasts every single week. These will be a little bit shorter this week because we've got some a busy schedule outside of the podcast, but boxing schedule don't slow down for nobody, and Shakur Stevenson.
What a phenomenal performance. Something that I think a lot of people touched upon in the build-up to the fight was, can Shakur really do it? You know, make it such a one-sided fight that a lot of people were saying it was going to be, and not a lot of people were buying into that. Everyone was expecting Teofimo Lopez to, you know, test him and take him into deep waters and all that, but he got nowhere near. Shakur Stevenson didn't allow him to get in range, get his shots off, and if I'm being completely honest with you, I thought it was a complete shutout. I honestly thought it could have been easily a 120, 108 fight, and I wouldn't have been shocked by it. I thought he was that dominant. And it wasn't like Teofimo Lopez was poor. He didn't have an off night. It's just Shakur Stevenson just showed that where you are in the pound for pound rankings and the list of world champions is there's a massive gap between a world champion and a pound for pound star on Saturday night.
Yeah, I think it's genuinely scary almost in terms of how good Shakur Stevenson is. We talked about him and we talked about the ways in which Teofimo Lopez can cause him problems. And I think we were doing that from a point of view of just, you have to try and find ways that beat him. But defensively, he is sublime. You know, I'd go as far to say defensively, he may even be above the likes of Floyd Mayweather, because I think the benefit that he's got is the his defensive style out of the southpaw stance. Obviously, with Floyd being in the orthodox, it was power shot with power shot. Whereas what Shakur can make you do is he can make you miss on the jab, but he's returning with his own power shot on the roll, and he's so effective. You know, I think the only criticism you could ever give him is he doesn't really put the foot down, but he doesn't have to. He's so good.
I don't think he had to, and especially in this fight where, you know, he could have put the foot down. He could have gone more on the front foot, but why? You know, he's winning dominantly. He could easily now, you know, he could easily be in the top 3 pound for pound at this moment after that performance. If the next fight that he takes, I have no idea why Benn was in the ring afterwards. That fight makes no sense whatsoever for Shakur Stevenson.
5-weight champion.
True. But let's be honest, is that really, that's going to go the same way as Teofimo Lopez fight on Saturday night? And I think the thing that you need to look at in this fight particularly, look in between rounds. Look when both men go back to their corner. Look how calm Shakur Stevenson's corner is, telling him where to work him, where to put him, where to place him, and bring that shot around and all that. Whereas in Teofimo Lopez's corner, to put it politely, was absolute chaos.
Just vibes, innit? Like,
just shouting, do this, do that, punch him. And you're watching it and you're thinking it's easier said than done, because Shakur Stevenson isn't, you know, staying in front of you when he throws a shot. He's working his way around, doing circles around you. And yeah, I just think watching it, I was shocked by how easy he made it look. Because I honestly thought that this fight was a competitive sort of 115, 113, even 116, 112 with the jump up. But he just proved a lot of people wrong. And, you know, with Terence Crawford now retired, that number 1 spot has gone up to probably Usyk and Inoue. They got a new one at number 3 now in Shakur Stevenson, I believe.
Yeah, I think you'd have to say so. Like I mentioned already, 4-weight champion currently, and has done it. You know, Teofimo Lopez is a big win. That's not a gimme win.
Look at the wins he's got, and against the opponents that he's fought. Josh Taylor, Lomachenko, phenomenal fighters in their own, undisputed champions and all that with Josh Taylor and everything. And they were performances of his career. You know, he had to be on it to win those fights. And that was the sort of Teofimo Lopez when you look back in his career. And I looked into this fight, I thought, yeah, that's the one that's going to turn up on Saturday night. And in a way it was, but Shakur Stevenson, like we've said, 4-weight world champion and all that, just showed, as I said at the start of the podcast, how much of a gap there is at the moment in boxing between the greats and the world champions.
Yeah, and it's like you kind of said, we did say, I think it was obvious that Shakur Stevenson...
We all went Shakur Stevenson.
More likely than not was going to win this fight, but like you said, I think actually you alluded to on the podcast it being wider than me and Ben were even suggesting.
But
I just, like you say, Teofimo Lopez plays best when he's disrupting, when he's the awkward, when he's the disruptor.
Yes.
But style-wise, I mean, Shakur defensively, it was a clinic. It was unbelievable to watch. There was points where he was able to just dominate the middle of the ring and still make Teofimo Lopez miss around him and still hold the middle. And like you say, it's just, it was a clinic. And you talk about the next fight. I don't mind the Conor Benn fight at welterweight because I think...
Do you think it's a waste?
Maybe, but I think if there's a world title on the line for it, which obviously it looks like there probably won't be because...
No, Barras and Garcia, no.
Yeah, I think there'd have to be a world title on the line and go up to a 5-weight world champion. I would be more keen to see the Ryan Garcia fight if that was for the WBC title.
The speed and... that'd be
because
incredible,
he is so quick, Shakur, but so accurate and so, he's able to make people miss so well, like I sort of explained with the defensive stuff. I don't know. I think he's at that point of his career now where he's chasing greatness. He's not, he hasn't got to prove anything. He hasn't got to win anymore. He's just chasing greatness and legacy. And I really do think that another fight, another weight could be a way of doing that. The other way of doing that is cleaning up at super lightweight. I think if you said, do you know what, this isn't my natural weight. This is a bit high for me, but do you know what? I'm going to clean it up anyway. Then that is in itself.
Do you reckon that shows a much more sort of pound for pound worthy star if he just goes, no, wait a minute, I'm not going to jump up just yet. I'm going to clean out this division and then I'm going to move up.
I don't know if I will ever put Shakur Stevenson as the pound for pound number one, really, for sort of two reasons. I foresee Inoue carrying on with the way he has and beating people like Nakatani. If that is still the next fight, I think cements him for me as the absolute number one. And then you look at Shakur Stevenson, I don't see him being able to create a pace of fight and win enough fights. And we've said it before, his real frustration, and it isn't a frustration at him, it's just a frustration as boxing fans, is he's not exciting to watch. I've found great joy in calling him boring, and he is boring.
Do you reckon he put that to bed on Saturday night though? Did you think, of how much of a clinic it was actually quite sort of, you were enjoying every minute of every round?
Yeah.
Was that the first time you can probably sit down and honestly say, I've enjoyed a 12-round fight with Shakur Stevenson in?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
And actually, to be fair, we got a comment on TikTok saying, other than the De Los Santos and the Padley fight, name me another boring Shakur fight. And actually, I couldn't come up with one on the top of my head. And that's a fair point. So I think there's a bit of recency memory there. But he's not a superstar. We've mentioned this before. He's not a superstar. I don't think he'll ever be a superstar. And it's because people don't like him.
True.
People
Very
don't
true.
enjoy watching him box because he's not this exciting. He's not a knockout artist. But if you're rating him purely as a boxer, he's one of the very best.
Yeah. Well, I think he's easily number 3 now. Like I said, with Terence Crawford retired, I think that elevates everyone up a position. I would have Inoue number 1.
Yeah.
Especially if he's fighting Nakatani next. I'd have Usyk number 2. I would have had Usyk number 1, by the way. But because of the way Usyk's sort of career is going now, and he's fighting sort of lesser known fighters that you don't really want to see him in against.
And also, he didn't take the Fabio Wardley fight, for example.
But there's rumours that he's taking this Andy Ruiz Jr. fight. And that, for me, if you're looking at sort of pound for pound number ones, if you're a pound for pound number 1, you shouldn't be taking fights like that.
Fight the best, beat the best.
Exactly.
And Inoue's beat the next best in his division in his last fight.
And he could be doing...
In Picasso Romero. And he's beating another pound for pound star in Nakatani.
Yeah.
In his next fight, yeah, absolutely.
What about for Shakur Stevenson now? There was a guy on the undercard, Keyshawn Davis, co-main event, I believe he was. I can't really remember. It was quite late when I was watching it. Another good performance by him.
Yeah.
So he could be one that
fight, I think they said they'll never fight each other, and it's a shame because it would be the best fight in the division.
100%.
It is, the style-wise, it's the best fight in the division. And who am I to say, go and fight each other? You make your own decisions. You're the ones in there, and they're mates and they won't do it. Fair enough.
But what a finish to his fight, though, for Davis.
Yeah, Keyshawn Davis was really impressive. I think we pretty much all touted him as a points decision win, or on the most part.
I think that's what split us all, to be honest.
Yeah, with the step up in weight, and he looked really, really good. I mean, obviously he was struggling to make the weight anyway, but yeah, I was really impressed with him once again. He is phenomenally talented. The only blot on his record is not making weight against De Los Santos.
That must be so frustrating now, mind, especially after a performance where you knock your opponent down in the 11th as well as the 12th, and then you get the stoppage win, and it's a kind of statement. I think you can maybe say that
definitely.
He's controlled the fight throughout, and he gets a stoppage win. But yeah, for me, I look at the entire undercard. We've been, I don't know how long we are into it, but we haven't talked about a certain moment.
It's the biggest moment.
It's the biggest moment of 2026. This will be the funniest moment in sport in 2026, probably.
Are you just saying that because how much you dislike him?
It couldn't have happened to a nicer person.
Okay, yeah.
No, I'm only joking. Listen, fair play for, putting whatever he put on for the fight, knowing that it could potentially happen.
Was this Jarrell Miller?
Well, I haven't even named him. You probably all have guessed who I'm talking about.
Presumably, right? This has always been the case. Like, not always, but for, the thing with him, it looks the same as it always has.
It looked, I didn't think I was like, hang on a minute.
There's certain things that cause early onset baldness, and I'm not going into those allegations, but you'd imagine he's been using such a system for a while.
I swear I read something. It was about his mother or something.
So he's claiming he went to his mum's house.
Oh, God.
And he went to have a shower, and he found some shampoo, and he thought, I'll give this a use. And it was Imodium bleach, which has got rid of all his hair, obviously. And then that was 2 days before the fight, I think. So last minute he had to go
It'd be interesting to see now, watching back to see if the press conference he was wearing a hat.
I don't mean to, there's absolutely no and do you know what? I really enjoyed
that made the fight.
The manner and the energy at which he accepted it within the ring. And then it's just gone to this bit afterwards where you come up with this elaborate lie. And I haven't actually seen the interview, so maybe it was a bit tongue in cheek, but the videos of Sky Nicholson, Fabio Wardley, people putting it on ringside. Just the fact that he's got his gloves, which are hard enough anyway, and ripped this hair system off. Oh, it's so funny.
It was when you woke up on Saturday morning and you just seen everyone waking up now and looking on Twitter, and it's just brilliant because when you're watching it, you're like, hang on a minute, his hair's just gone back.
Yeah.
What was that punch? Was that a punch from the gods or something? And no, it wasn't. But talking about the fight, I thought, honestly, that made the fight. It was a decent watch. It was a slugfest. They were both going back and forth, and some people potentially could say that Miller was rather fortunate in the fight. I thought eBay was very good value for money. And I can't think about that fight without smiling. Not because of the action, but because of that one moment. And like I said, it couldn't have happened to a nicer fighter.
Does it at all change your perception on you don't want to see Jarrell Miller on a fight card again? Are you happy to accept that this was worth doing it?
I don't.
Because he's had his many issues.
Long-awaited debut at Madison Square Gardens, and sort of he's probably going to be one of the most remembered fighters now who have ever fought at Madison Square Gardens because of that moment there, and he can probably retire happy now after that. But fair play to him for ripping it off. I think that was quite funny, especially in the crowd. What's your opponent thinking when you see that? You've had the 10-second klaxon to get up from your stool to get ready for the next round, and you just see all of a sudden your opponent go like that and just throw it away.
Hang on, they swapped my opponent. My opponent had hair.
Two different, exactly. But when you think you've seen everything in the sport, keeps you
on your toes.
Exactly.
Now, there's some other stuff on this card. I think Carrington was very impressive. Yes. Unfortunately, we didn't get Adames Ammo Williams, which I was looking forward to.
What happened there? Adames fell ill?
I believe so, on Fight Week. But I think as a British boxing podcast, we would be doing ourselves and our audience a disservice if we didn't mention Josh Kelly quite so early on. I think it's fair to say we all had hopes but doubts whether he would win the world title, and it was based off of history, based off of partially, I think, when a lot of dangerous foreign opponents come to the UK, we write them off and they beat our best, and we go home licking our wounds. And there was a bit of that. And we said, I've never seen a complete 12-round performance from Josh Kelly, and I still haven't. He got caught, and there's frustrations there. And when he gets caught, he seems to go into this sort of defense mode, which it's not good for him. It's not conducive to what had won him rounds prior to that. And then he just came out, I think, in the 10th or 11th.
Wherever.
The 9th was when he got hurt, I believe. And it was the 10th or the 11th. I think it was the 11th he came out, and he was like he was in the 8th. He was taunting, he was making him miss and making him pay, and it was all of this, and it was great. I'm really happy for the lad. A good performance against a genuine world champion, and silenced a lot of doubters and proved the talent we always knew he had.
I was sat here this time last week, and I said, if Josh Kelly could pick a world champion to fight for a world title, it wouldn't have been Murtazaliev. And that was me honestly speaking, because I honestly thought that he had no chance in this fight. I was expecting it to be finished. You even put the message in the chat. In round 2 or 3, come on, boys, what's the bet now? What round is this going to be finished in? The way that Josh Kelly was sort of starting. And then all of a sudden, the next round, something that none of us expected, he's on his backside, Murtazaliev is.
Yeah,
shocked.
yeah.
And what I liked about it was, especially as the fight went on, you sort of showed or saw that Josh Kelly was growing in confidence. And in a way, I was glad that Murtazaliev knocked him down in the 9th, because that sort of woken him up again and calmed him down and realised that he's still dangerous. He's a big, big puncher, this guy is. And he showed that in the 9th round, but he was becoming frustrated in the 10th and 11th and 12th. And that played into Josh Kelly's favour. And who would have thought at the beginning of 2026, from the start of January 1st to the end, literally January 31st, that Great Britain would have 2 new world champions?
Yeah, we've done well.
We would have been laughing, especially with the opponents as well, on away soil and against a really, really good Russian. You know, the odds weren't in their favour, but, you know, fair play to Dalton Smith, fair play to Josh Kelly, but you're looking at performances so far that we've seen this year. It's up there, because honestly, if you sat down with any boxing fan, British as well, and you sat them down and honestly asked them, you know, what is your predictions for this fight? What's your head saying? Everyone would have said Murtazaliev.
Yeah, I think the way we sort of talked on it, and the way I think most people have seen it, is he was always able to win that fight.
Yes.
But he wasn't the favourite. And I think, like you say, I was the same as you, thought, nah, this isn't the fight. But in hindsight, the matchmaking was brilliant, because the skill gap was enough that the power didn't become a problem. And obviously he was still hurt. And he showed signs of coming close to what we saw against the likes of Ishmael Davis.
That's the fight, wasn't it? Especially after the 9th round, you thought, here we go again, maybe.
But again, we're talking about wins.
Yeah.
And similar to Shakur, it wasn't the most exciting performance in the world in terms of the pure boxing, but I think being in your home, or you know, near enough your hometown, and having that crowd behind you and the energy that brings to a fight, we've talked about it before. It almost doesn't really matter what was going on in the ring. And there was a point where Murtazaliev came with that big left hand, I think it was, and he's ducked under it in the corner, span him round, and let off a 4 or 5 shot combo. And it was in either the 11th or the 12th. I can't remember.
It was late on in the fight. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And the arena erupted, and it was that energy, I think, carried him through. He said it in his post fight. He said that energy carried him through, and it definitely did.
And that's the thing about when you fight for a world title, you want it in your hometown, because you
need
know
that second man.
Exactly, the 12th man and the 16th man, whatever sport you like. But I'm happy that he proved us wrong, to be honest, and I'm happy to be wrong on our prediction last week. And we were not close to it, were we?
No.
We all went stoppage win for Murtazaliev, and for Josh Kelly, boots Ennis.
I think so.
Imagine if that Virgil Ortiz fight doesn't happen, if you're Josh Kelly's management, Eddie Hearn obviously, but also Southerland, I think.
Yes.
If you're looking for the next big fight, the next big money, because that's what you want now as a world champion. You've got your dream. Now let's see how much we can make from it.
Yeah.
And just go for it. And I'm excited for him now. And you look at deserving as well. He's had his troubles in the past. He's come back. And yeah, there was stuff about the Ishmael Davis fight that we were quite critical about, especially in the ending. Yeah. And like I said to you just moments ago, I said, here we go again. Because that ninth round, when the knockdown came, I just thought, oh God, here we go. It's going to happen and he's going to get stopped late. But I feel like it was great corner work by Adam Booth, calmed him down, refocused him, and for him to get the job done and for Britain now to have
6, I think it is.
Is it 6? It's growing. It's growing. So let's keep it rolling.
Yeah,
especially for a British podcast on boxing.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff. And like you say, the deserving, we always knew he had the ability. It was just turning it into a performance, and he's finally done that. Josh Padley, it wasn't much of a performance in terms of length, but it was in terms of, don't get me wrong, the opponent won great.
No.
The opponent won great, but he did what he had to do in the 2 rounds.
Do you know what it reminded me of? Gavin Gwyn's European title fight.
Yes, Emiliano Marsili, yeah.
It reminded me of that, where you were fingers crossed that he would win, and then when you saw his opponent, you were like, oh, happy days. Yeah, It felt a little bit like that on Saturday night. But again, Josh Padley is sort of fighter that's come from nowhere. And look at him now, European champion. I'm going to say it quietly. He's slowly climbing that ladder.
Yeah, we take the
mick out of me.
We clowned you for saying he's a future world champion because it was so reactionary at the time. It was so reactionary. It was proper reactionary.
I was very excited that
it got a bit carried away. But I think what we're seeing is a freedom being provided by that match and promotion.
Pressure, is he?
The fact that he's got time to go full time, he's not working, and we're seeing the absolute best of him. That win against Mark Chamberlain under the circumstances was massively impressive. Yeah. The performance, albeit a losing one, the performance and the bravery against Shakur Stevenson was impressive in the circumstances at that last minute call up. And now I think we're seeing the fruits of his labour in terms of as a full-time fighter. I still think world champion shouts are
ludicrous.
Are wide of the mark. Not ludicrous, but 100%. They are wide of the mark. But I'd love for it. I will be, if that does happen.
I'll be unbearable.
And this podcast is still running. I will happily give the most public, in-depth apology to yourself, to Josh Padley, to the people of Doncaster.
We got to clip
to my people of Yorkshire. I'm happy to give that.
But
for the time being, no.
He's picked up the European title, so he is taking sort of the route.
The Dalton Smith route.
Exactly.
WBC Silver next. Which he had. That's what's crazy, is he had the WBC Silver after that going into the Shakur fight.
Who knows what could happen
There
next
is a... It's like, do you know what? It's a good job Ben's not here, because Elif Nur Turhan had a bit of a scare.
Did she win?
Was
it a draw? I
think somebody compared her to the female Deontay Wilder in the sense of she's got a big shot and nothing else. I think it's a bit harsh. I think she's got a lot more to her than Deontay Wilder. She's got more than just a big right hand. She's also got a big left hand.
Yes.
But I think it is a sense of if you can weather that early storm, you're in for a chance. Yeah. But her power is undeniable. It's exciting. I'd still think we have to see the Caroline Dubois fight. It's the perfect litmus test for both. It's a perfect unification fight. It's as good a payday as either women are going to get. And it's as good a fight as fans are going to get. And
I think it can get done as well, because obviously Matchroom have got a good relationship with MVP. If Caroline Dubois was still with Boxer, I don't think that happens. But yeah, I thought she was very lucky on Saturday night, to be honest, to win the fight.
Same.
I saw Eddie Hearn watching it over in New York, and before the scorecards were read out by David Diamante, he said draw. I had it a draw. But
I think as the champion, you get a little bit of leeway.
I think being champion sort of gives you an extra, round or two, a bit of an advantage.
If it's a close round, I think you get the leeway.
But it's like in football and rugby, where the team is in the table probably dictates what the referee's decisions are sometimes.
So a little bit. And I think when Gavin Gwynn said it when he came on here, I think he was talking about his draw against Craig Woodruff, I think it was. He was saying he was the world champ at the time, and he felt he won that fight because to lose it as a champion, they have to beat you. And he didn't feel he was beat on that night. And I think this is the same. When it's a close fight, you can kind of see how she got the leeway on there. Jumping over from that to Boxer briefly, another bit of a scare in the form of Fran Hennessy.
I didn't know how good her opponent was until, I did a bit of digging. And
she's got, on paper, a very good opponent. And I think after that performance...
I thought on paper beforehand, she had a good record, but against sort of what we sort of ranking her opponents against compared to Fran Hennessy. She's fought in China and Thailand, I believe, her whole career. I thought Fran Hennessy, there's something there, to be honest, but she's still got a long way to go and develop. And she's still very young though, ain't she, at the moment? So she's got plenty of time. But if you're main eventing on BBC and all that, that comes with pressure. It wasn't a sort of performance where you go, wow.
No, I think it's a great learning fight. Main eventing, the performance in terms of it being a tough fight against a tough opponent, she'll take a lot from that. But if you said to me, we're making the Shanika Johnson fight next for the world title, obviously as the WBC silver champion, I'd be worried.
Yeah, you would, especially with the form she's in, Johnson. She's in incredible form. She was on I remember watching her on the AJ Jake Paul card. She was good on that night as well. Yeah.
Since she had the questionable fight against, the name escapes me, over in Australia where they read out the wrong winner. I interviewed the fighter. The name's just, it's been a long day. Nina Hughes, that's the one.
I was about to say,
She since that kind of questionable, she came back in the rematch and she bossed it, and she's been, flying since. I think framing it in that, I mean, Fran has huge aspirations of being the youngest world champion and the youngest undisputed and all of this stuff. And I don't know how, I don't know time-wise how that's working out at the moment. I haven't checked exactly, but she's got high aspirations and fair play to her, but I don't think she's quite at that world level yet where you'd be worried if she was given that Shanika Johnson fight.
And I don't even think, and I mean this with the greatest of respect, I don't even think she can fight for a world title where she is at the moment.
With Boxer?
Yeah.
Unless she's the away fighter on an MVP card, which, I can see happening maybe, but...
They're worldwide now on DAZN as well. And did you know that we can watch it in Britain on DAZN?
Is it?
Yeah. I was scrolling there and I thought, have I got something on that I shouldn't have on my VPN or something? And no, Andy Clark commentating. I was like, happy days.
Cushy.
So, but no, listen, it's good that they've got boxing on BBC and all that, but Boxer really, really, their next fight card, which they've announced with Lauren Price, it has to be good. It has to be watchable, and it has to be the sort of fight where you go, I'll watch that, instead of I'll watch the main event and see the results of the rest of the card.
Yeah, and I think it will be actually. When you look at it, I think when you look at Lauren Price as the main event, you'd imagine Reece Edwards, Gully Power, which has been delayed, will be the co-main on that for the British title, which is a great, great fight. Mm-hmm. And then Dan Francis, friend of the channel, is matchmaking or helping matchmake for that card. We know when it comes to Welsh fighters, he'll come through. I think that's going to be a really good fight. And I think that's going to be the model for their fights going forward, where you have local star at the top of the bill, a decent co-main, and then a local, exciting, enjoyable undercard. And I think we would have seen that if Adam Azim had stayed on the card.
Didn't we see that with Adam Azim, one of his fights in Wolverhampton when Tyler Denny was like the main event?
I think so, yeah.
Do stuff like that.
And to be fair to them, if Azim had stayed on this card, then Azim Lemos as a main event, Fran Butel as the co-main is a good...
And then Greatest Kraus as well.
Yeah, is exactly the kind of format we just explained.
It's just one fight can ruin everything. And in this case, it did.
Yeah, I think so.
So it's something for them to improve on, definitely. But it's something for Welsh boxing fans now to be excited for. We've been starved of a big, big night of boxing.
Coming up on 2 years.
So come on, Dan. Dan, I'm talking to you now, mate. 1-1. Get us 2 Welsh title fights. A heavyweight on there. You know the heavyweight I'm talking about.
And 3 tickets, please.
And free front row seats. How about that?
Yeah, sounds good. Fight of the weekend, as we just sort of wrap up on this one.
I'll go, just because of the performance, Josh Kelly proving me wrong in the way he just, dominant.
I'm going Miller.
Yeah, just
Miller,
because of the
eBay, just because of that. The toupee incident.
Is that why Ben's not here this week? Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe he's getting his
one done.
Yeah,
I was seeing it today. He's going at the back. I was sat behind him at the BBC, and he's going at the back behind. But
poor Ben.
One to think about. And
Boys back.
If it ever gets a little bit Larry on the podcast, then we know we can hit him with a 1-2 pay and have it flip off the back. So if you like the sound of that, then subscribe if you haven't already. We're trying to get our subscriptions watch hours all up so that we can get monetized, so we can fund Benn's hairpiece. So if you guys could do that for us, we'd really appreciate it. Otherwise, join us later in the week as we preview Nick Ball versus Brandon Figueroa and the rest of that card. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you all later in the week.
Punches chance. Punches Chance Podcast.